Hello guys, how are you doing today? So today we are going to look at how to count the numbers of times a date's field has changed. So let's say for example, you wanted to know uh, what how many times a book has been borrowed, for example, in a library, or how many times a specific user have changed the numbers of an appointment uh, for a client. You understand? So this could be something we can achieve without writing any kind of script. So the first thing we like to do first is to create two fields. The first field will be the whole number, and the second field will be decimal number, right? So we're going to create a workflow to update the decimal field to a default value. Let's say default value, right? Right, and what's that default value could be 1. And also we're going to create a workflow to set the increment by in the in the whole field number, right? Whole number field here, right? So how can we achieve this? And so let's get it on. So here I have my solutions, a custom solution, and this is like a solution for library checker, right? So let's say somebody comes to the library to borrow a book, and we have, as you can see here, we have the record numbers, the book type, and all of that. And here we have the checkout dates and check-in dates. So here we'll be leveraging on the checkout dates, right? So, and this will be like the dates in which the book is being borrowed. And here we'll be using these fields just to check the numbers of times this book has been borrowed by this user, by this person, right? So let's create two fields. If I navigate to my customization, and here I have the solution that I've created already. And if I go to my library checker, and if I go to my forms, and once I do that, and if I open the form, I'm going to have this. Perhaps I can increase a little bit here. So here I see the checkout dates, and here I'm going to create additional field. Let me say checkout counts, right? And this is going to be a whole number. Now I'm going to save this. Okay, so I'm going to create another field called a decimal field, right? So by this is going to work as what we expected from this to see. So this is going to be we're going to use the workflow, like I said, from beginning, and we're going to create additional fields here. Say decimal. Let me just name it decimal counts, right? Okay, decimal. Okay, and here we're going to select number and call it decimal. So once I click on that, I click on save. So that's fine, good. Now, so let's add it to the form, right? So we're going to do this, and here, what is the number? Checkout counts, and here I'm going to have the decimal numbers, right? Yeah, as you can see, this two fields are here, right? So usually what we're going to do is to hide the decimal. Oh, sorry, I didn't spell this very well. Decimal, it should be decimal, right? Decimal number. Okay. So that's good for us. Let's save. publish. So we're publishing now. So now it's done publishing. So what I'm going to do is that if you go back to our page, I'm trying to refresh. Now we should have our two fields that we created earlier, which is the checkout count and the decimal count as well. So now it's loaded, and we should see the checkout count and decimal. So usually, so what I'm going to do here is that we're going to create a classic workflow. And if you go back to settings, and here you have the processing, and here, so once you do that, what is this? Okay, click on new. So here I'm going to create, first of all, I would like to update the default value to 1 for the decimal field, right? So update decimal field. Here, select workflow, and here select my entity, which is the library tracker. And here is we are going to make it a real-time workflow because we want it to trigger immediately and see the result, right? And click on OK. Yeah, so this is created, and here we want this field to change. To update when the record is created itself. So I'm going to click on Add Steps, then click on Updates, and this step. So now after that, so what I'm going to look at is to update. I'm going to set the properties. So this is loaded for us. What I'm the first thing I want to do is to update this field with value field. So I'm going to set this to a default value, which is 1, and click on Add to this, right? And that is what I need to do here. So once I click on Save and Close. So once I do that, then this should click on Save, and here I'm going to activate the workflow. Once this is saved, so what I'm going to do next is to, okay, that's fine. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to create a new flow, and this is going to be checkout count increment. Okay, and I'm going to set a category, which is workflow. Also I'm going to select the entity field from here, click on OK. So here, so I'm going to select the record fields. So when the field changes, also, and this is going to be what field is going to change. That's the checkout field, right? And if you go back to our fields, so we're saying that when this checkout date is what is changed, then, or when the record is being created, right? So I'm going to select this, and what's that field? Checkout date. Click on this, and here we are going to do what? To update the field itself, right? So click on Update Records. So what is done? Set the properties to. So here we have the checkout count, right? And we're going to set this operator to increment by, and the what's, right, to this. I'm going to select decimal. So this is decimal is what we created earlier to update the field, right? So this is going to add to it, and click on OK. So once you click on Save and Close. So once you do that, you click on Save, and activate. So also activate this record, this workflow, sorry. Then I gotta refresh. So this is done uploading, right? So what we're going to do is try to create a new record. Remember what we said? The decimal value is when a new record is being created, right? So here I'm going to select the book type, and here try to select the applicant name. And here I would say the checkout dates. Let's say today. And first we need to click on save. Okay, let's try to refresh if this value will be updated. Okay, something's wrong here. So as you can see, the decimal number is not updated yet. We're going to look at what happened there. So let's go back to our process flow. And if you go back to our decimal field, as you can see, the flow is not being activated yet. So I think that's the cause of the problem. So what we're going to do is to click on this and activate the workflow. So I click on this and activate the workflow. Okay, so let's try to activate from here. Click on activate. So this time we have to ensure that this field is updated. And here, so if we try to refresh once again, and we'll try to create a new record. So what we're going to do this time around is to create a new record. And here, do the same thing. Sign this time around. We're just going to click on save. Okay, so let's click on save. As you can see, this the default value actually auto-populated with this the default value. So another thing we're going to look at is that here the checkout date. As you can see here, let's say the book was checked out on the 10th. If I click on save, and here as you can see the numbers of counts here is 1, right? And again, if I change the number again, let's say just the same guy came to the library again and also borrowed the same book again, right? Or number of times of which the user actually borrowed the book, or the borrower actually came to the library to borrow that book in the library. So we're gonna add. If I select another date, I click on save. As you can see here, and also the guy come again to borrow another book in the same library. So here, so this is how to achieve these results without necessarily have to write a script on this one. So in the live environment, you might want to hide this field and also make this field read only. So here, if I go back here, I'm going to make this field read only. I'm going to hide this one. Click on save. And also publish the button. So once I come back and I also refresh the page here, and as you see that those fields should be added normally. So here I'm going to create a new record. As you can see, we have this record is now being read only, and so user can not be able to change it. So if I try to create a new record now and say book type this time around, international politics, and these are the email, blah blah, and you can decide to select name, any name, let's say this one, and then here I'm going to select the dates here. Okay, as you can see, check out dates. So here it's going to count, right? If I say this one, refresh, and once I click again to change this record, as you can see here, the numbers count as well. So if I select a new date, I click on save, as you can see, it counts again. So this is how you can be able to achieve this without any stress, right? Thank you very much.